I'm back and we are continuing the UFC fight card Manel Kape versus Almabayev. Let's get right into it, but remember this Saturday is the live watch party for this fight card, the prelims and the main card, and I'll hopefully catch all, if not some of you, at this stream. Let's get right into today's video. Today we are looking into Nasrat Haqparast versus Esteban Ribovics. Esteban Ribovics is 14-1. His country is Argentina. He stands at 5 foot 10 inches tall. He weighed at 173 pounds 40 in his last win, has a reach of 69 inches and a leg reach of 39 inches. While Haqparast, on the other hand, is 17-5. His country is Morocco. He stands at 5 foot 10 as well. He weighed at 156 pounds in his last win, has a reach of 72 inches and a leg reach of 41 inches. A 2-inch leg reach going in Haqparast's favour and a 3-inch reach advantage. Haqparast does have the more on his record. He has 4 more losses and 3 more wins. He does have that record over Esteban, but nothing too critical to go for here, apart from the reach being 3 inches and the leg reach being only 2 inches. But let's move on to the win by stats. Well, let's very quickly say Nasrat has the advantage to use his reach, to use his advantages, to keep it at range, keep Esteban back with using his jab, creating those angles, cut him down and control the octagon. Now Esteban, yes, he's going to have to use head movement, or maybe Nasrat just doesn't move his head and Esteban can just walk him back. Walking backwards is going to force Nasrat to become more tired. Esteban, same thing. If he goes back, it's going to make him a bit more tired. So I think Esteban should try and put the pressure on Nasrat early, get him tired, get him gassed, and Nasrat to use his reach to his advantage and force Esteban back, just flicking out a jab, flicking out the backhand, feinting them kicks, and just walking him back. But let's move on to win buys and see how they've got it done in their previous fights. With Nasrat having a 59% KO, 0% submission, 41% decision with an average fight time sitting at 12 minutes and a knockdown average of 1. While Ribovics, on the other hand, has a 50% KO, 36% submission, 14% decision with an average fight time sitting at 9 minutes and a knockdown average of 1. So based off their previous fights, they both have a knockdown average of 1, which is pretty good. They both knocked down their opponents a fair few times in their previous fight. Esteban having the shorter amount of average fight time, so more commonly his wins are by stoppage, but as we saw there, Nasrat don't have any submissions, but he does have quite a lot of KO and TKOs and a fair few decisions. Now it does seem to me that I feel like Esteban's best goal for this, use his head reach, use the shorter striking, get on the inside, get the takedowns, go for a submission. Nasrat has a little bit of a reach. He can keep Esteban back, use his power, go for the knockout. Now that doesn't mean Esteban can't get the knockout. He can definitely get the knockout, but I believe based off these stats, he does have a high submission average. Get it down, go for a submission. We need to check out one more stat for this and then we'll move on to significant strikes after. With Nasrat having 10 wins by knockout, 0 wins by submission, as we know, 7 wins by decision. Now he's had 1 loss by knockout, 1 loss by submission, and 3 losses by decision. His previous fights have been against Jared Gordon, where he won via split decision, Jamie Malarkey, where he won via punches, so he won by knockout in round 1, and then Landon Quinonez, where he won by unanimous decision there, and then another decision win against John McDessie. He's had 4 losses in UFC, 1 being against King Green, Bobby Green, Dan Hooker, Dudoba, and Marcin Held. So let's quickly base it off of his last fight, because his last fight was last year, the fight before that was the year before that, and the fight before that was back in 2023 as well. So 2024, his only win in 2024, the only fight he had in 2024, he won it by a split decision against Jared Gordon, which isn't too bad, but it's a split decision, therefore it's arguably could have been a loss, could have been a win, maybe it could have been a convincing draw, but it's not a good look coming into this one. You have the power. I mean, looking at his fight before this, he has the power, he can get the knockout. Before that, again, another decision. It appears that a lot of his wins in the UFC are by decisions. Now, does he knock out Esteban? I don't think he does. I don't think he knocks him out. If the fight does go to a decision as a whole, I'd probably give it to Nasrat Haqparast. But let's move on to Esteban Ribovics stats. Esteban has 7 wins via KO and TKO, 5 wins by submission, 2 wins by decision, and 1 loss by decision. He's had 1 loss in UFC and 3 wins in UFC. He beat Daniel Zohiba at UFC 306 as a split decision as well, so his previous fight was also a split decision. He then got a head kick knockout against Terrence McKinney, and that was all for 2024. Now in 2023, he got decision and lost to a decision. Based off these stats, I believe that I'm confident with saying if he does lose, it'll probably be by decision. he can win decision wins. His only loss in UFC has been a decision loss, so it also depends on the next stats, which is the significant strikes, who performed and outperformed who in the previous fight, and then when we get on to the grappling as well, who outperformed who, because Esteban might have to secure a decision win, but it's can he output, can he perform well, can he work on that front foot, can he land the damaging shots, can he control the octagon, can he take the control time on the grappling. There's a lot of factor here, but as of right now, I feel like Esteban, his best bet, get it down, go for a submission, maybe keep it on the feet, go for a knockout. While his opponent Nasrat, I think he needs to get the knockout or get a decision win, but he has to, again, also put in the pressure, put in the performance of a lifetime to win this fight. But let's move on to significant strikes, see how they performed on the feet in their previous fights to kind of open up the game plan a little bit for both. This is what I was expecting. Esteban Ribovics had an average of 8 punches landed per minute, 48% significant strikes, an average of 5 punches absorbed per minute with a defense of 57%, while Nasrat Haqparast had an average of 6 punches landed per minute, 44% significant strikes, an average of 6 punches absorbed per minute with a defense of 62%. So I was expecting something like this, it to be very high output, high landing, high averages, because of how these two have won knockouts, decisions. This shows that these two can go to deep waters and fight and dog it out and get a decision win. Now, can they both knock each other out? Hell yeah. Looking at these stats, they can knock each other down, knock each other out. They could do a lot to each other. Pause. The defense though is the key thing here, because yes, the performance, the working from both of them, amazing. They both absorbed quite a bit. Now, Esteban landed more, had a better, slightly better significant strikes percentage, but had a lot worse of a defense. I know it's only 5%, but still, Nasrat had a bit of a better defense. So based off of these stats, it's fairly close because they both can outperform, they can both land high average, go high volume, land significant strikes, absorb quite a bit, have a fairly well defense. I feel like this is going to be a shocker of a fight. I think this one's going to be very good. Who do I think comes out of it on top? Again, I'll talk about that at the end of the video. But based off of these, Esteban might be the best bet to stay on the feet, except for the defense part. If Nasrat can up his landing per minute, up his outage, that's not the right word, but it's the word we're going to use, and up the significant strike percentage a little bit in this fight and have a better one than his previous one, then he's going to win by a decision or a knockout. Now, Esteban, yes, it's great that he can land, it's great that he has high significant strikes percentage, it's great that he absorbs not as much, but his defense needs to be upped a bit, because if Nasrat can start landing those shots, putting combinations together, it's going to be a long night for Esteban. But that's just my thoughts, my opinions on that. Let's move on to the grappling very quickly. With Nasrat Haqparast having an average of 0 takedowns, 20% takedown accuracy, 84% takedown defense with a submission average of 0, while Esteban Ribovics had an average of 1 takedown, 66% takedown accuracy, 61% takedown defense, and a submission average of 0. I'm going to stick with my gut on this one. I think Esteban, yes, would do very well on the feet, and I think he could stay on the feet. I think he could win by knockout. I think he could win by a decision on the feet. But for this safest bet, in my opinion, his safest bet is get it down. Now, Nasrat does have a high takedown defense, which is good. But how does that compare to Esteban's grappling knowledge? How does that compare to Nasrat's grappling knowledge? There's a lot of factors here. Esteban didn't attempt many. He didn't attempt many takedowns, but he got a very high average. Over half of his takedowns were successful. He defended over half as well, and Nasrat also defended nearly all of them. I feel like looking at these stats, Nasrat seems a bit like an underdog on the grappling. I feel like I'm looking at it and I'm like, he has a high takedown defense, but his takedown accuracy is poor. So maybe it's his takedown knowledge is poor, but he has very high takedown defense knowledge and knows how to control when getting down. But I feel like against Esteban, I think he would get outmatched and outclassed in the grappling. But that's just my thoughts and my opinions. So how do I think this fight plays out? Well, this is one hell of a video to do. Esteban Ribovics, how do I think he gets it done? I think he gets it done by a submission. I think he gets it down. I think he gets the knockdown, takes control, Nasrat gets submitted. But I don't think it'll be as quickly or as easy as I'm saying it is. I think Nasrat will put up a hell of a fight, and it's going to be one hell of a fight. And I think Nasrat can drag Esteban into deep waters, put him on that back foot, and control him for a bit. And I think Esteban does come in with a late submission, round 2, round 3-ish, but that's just my thoughts, my opinions, and my predictions. What do you guys think? Who do you think wins that? How do you think they win? Apart from that, I'll catch you in a bit. Take care, and peace.